What's up, guys? It's your boy Josh Showtime. Showtime's Fight Forum, where we talk all things fights. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, of course. Tell me what you think. And if you disagree, agree. Normally I'm right, but you know, it is what it is. But we had a new year, and we just got our first pay-per-view event at UFC 297. And the card was mid. Let's just keep it a stack. That card was mid as hell. Was it bad? No. Was it good? Nope. But I mean, to be honest with you, if you just looked at the lineup, I didn't really expect it to be much of a banger, but I mean, it is what it is. It's fights. We haven't had really fights and, you know, a pay-per-view fight in a month. I was excited anyways. Even if I really wasn't too excited for the co-main, the main event was kind of, whatever. But let's get into it. I didn't do my predictions because once again, I just been so busy, bro. But I'm going to get better. I'm going to be filming more. I'm going to be recording and then posting and all that stuff and get back at me. As also, follow me on social medias at Papa Showtime, Josh Showtime, whichever one you find me at. But let's do some breakdowns, man. So there wasn't a ton of fights that were super important as far as the realm and spectrum of like UFC or title contentions, except for obviously the co-main and the main. But yet and still, there was still some ranked fights. There were some interesting fights. But I'm going to dive in onto some of them, not all of them, because, I mean, some really wasn't worth the time, realistically, for me to even mention them. Now, let's talk about the first fight on the pay-per-view, which was Arnold Allen versus Masvidal. Now, I don't know what Dana was talking about. Maybe he was talking about another fight. He got mistaken for another fight, but he called that like one of the worst fights to watch. The fight wasn't bad. Like, was it the best fight ever? No. But it was definitely one of the better fights, let alone it was nowhere near worse than the co-main event. So it was kind of weird to hear him say that because I'm like, all right, bro, well, what are we talking about here? Because that co-main was bad. That was my ass. That was ass. Okay, it was bad. But yet still, you know, it is what it is. Now, as far as that fight goes, you know, Arnold Allen showed how tough of a fighter he is. He was able to withstand all those takedown attempts and actually getting taken down and getting back up. He got hurt bad in the second and was able to still come forward in the third and was able to sling it out. And honestly, you know, win that third round. I thought it was really, really tough. But yet still, we got to call it what it is, man. Now he's on a 2-fight skid. And, you know, it's kind of hard when you put a guy who just lost to Max Holloway in a very competitive and fun fight, and then you put him up against like undefeated or a guy with one loss or something like a top dog or up and comer. I ain't gonna say top dog, but an up and coming dog. So it was kind of, they kind of hold him in my opinion, but yet and still, you gotta win those fights. Simple and plain, you gotta win those fights. And now you're 0-2, he's back to the drawing board. And yet and still, and Masvidal now is ranked up. Now, he's not in Dana's grace right now because Dana just dissed him a little bit, but yet and still, I thought he looked well. Third period, he started to fade a little bit, but yet and still, I thought a solid showing. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do in that division. Now, I will say, having bad cardio in the 145-pound division is not ideal. It's extremely, extremely tough division, period. It's already one of the toughest divisions in MMA. But to have a flaw as far as fading in the third, and then going against guys who can withstand your takedowns, it's going to be tough sledding. Like, the tougher and higher up you go when you go against the Max Holloways, the Alex Volkanovskis, like the Tuporias, like, bro, it's going to be a tough sled. So I saw enough holes in my games to say he ain't ready for no title shot, but yet and still he's climbing up. So he got to continue to work on his game and definitely his cardio and pace. Now, the next fight, which was Chris Curtis versus, Marc Andre. Now, look, let me say, Chris Curtis, actually I like the guy. Like, I'm not like in love with the guy, but I like the guy as a fighter. I do think that he complains a lot, and a lot of it is his fault. He complains so much about like fights he think he won and this, that, and third. But it's like, bro, your fighting style, it's kind of like Sean Strickland in a way. I know they're buddies, but their styles causes close fights. Like, you can't keep complaining about these split decision wins and losses when you make the fight competitive. Like, bro, I know you like to say you parry, you like to block with your elbow, this, that, and the third. Yeah, sure, it's nice, but these guys are still scoring. Yes, you're blocking, but you don't get points for defense. So if it lands on your elbow, it's still gonna score some points. Like, yet still, have you seen Callum Smith when he fought Canelo? You seen his elbows and his arms? It's still a part of MMA. So yet and still, like, you're blocking, but your offense has to pick up a little bit. And not only your offense got to pick up because Curtis was throwing, but you got to land substantial punches to make a round sway your way. Like, they got to be heavy bomb shots where it's like he's either rocked or it's like, damn, he got a chin. And if we're not saying that, then bro, it's going to be a close fight every time. Like, it's not like where it's like a Max Holloway where he's not the biggest puncher, but his volume is just so excessive, and he just wears on you so much that he just weighs on you, and he punches you so many times clean that it's like, all right, well, we know he gave you those rounds. It's not like that. It's like, I'll land, here and there. You'll land, but then also I'll block a lot of the shots. But it's just like nothing substantial to make me say, oh yeah, you clearly won those rounds. And I don't get the complaining when it comes to that. But yeah, still he won, so he's happy. It was a competitive fight, and yeah, cool things. Now, third fight was the upset, was Neil Magny versus Mike Malott, which I think the guy's from Canada as well. I think he only had like one loss on his record, and he faded hard. Now, if you're in the 170-pound division, which is once again a very tough division, you are going to have a problem versus the top dogs, bro. You got to have cardio. And Neil Magny, you was dominating the fight, clearly was winning. That was going to be your fight if you would have lasted. But yet still, you did something stupid, got caught, and got caught in a bad position. You faded, and he mounted you and just started beating the crap out of you. Simple and plain. You got to work on your pace. Fighters have to nowadays, not nowadays, they forever should. Work on a pace that you can handle. If you're dictating the fight, which he was doing the entire fight, bro, this is your landing spot. Why are you getting tired in your fight? This is what you wanted. So it's definitely concerning. And yeah, and still the hype is completely off because you lost to Neil Magny, who's not a bad fighter, but if you're a fighter that's supposed to be elite, you don't lose to Neil Magny. It's just a fact. I like Neil Magny, but that's just a fact. He's good, not great at all. So yeah. Now, let's talk about that co-main. I mean, let's talk about that real quick. It sucked. We're shocked. It sucked. It was that fight sucked. Bro, like I was literally texting my friends and telling them like, yo, I might not make it, yo. I might have to go to sleep. Like this is bad. And the 145-pound division, like, and I love women's MMA. Like the 115-pound division is probably one of my top 3 divisions in all of MMA. Not even just women, just all of them. I love the 115-pound division. It's so talented, so many good fights and fighters. Yeah, it's just up there. But 145-pound division is a joke. Like 135-pound division is a joke. These fighters are not that. They're not that good. They're not that talented. Let's just keep it honest. Keep it a buck. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to poo-poo on women's MMA. There's talented fighters, but at that division, they're just not that good. Raquel Pennington and De La Silva, like, it wasn't a good performance. And I'm putting a lot more on Raquel because, bro, you've been in these championship fights before. What were you doing in the later half of those fights, the 4th and 5th round? Why are we not getting a finish here? Like I get you're happy, you're proud. You should be proud that you won a championship. Respect. Now your pay scale done went up. I'm happy for you. But you have to be disappointed in yourself and how you performed when in reality, like, she was ready to go in the 4th round, especially in the 5th. She was ready to go, bro. She was like, bro, knock me out, finish me, like, do whatever you want. But you consistently clinched. You dragged the fight out. And it's like, bro, where's the killer instinct? You're supposed to be a striker. Nothing I hate more than a striker with no killer instinct. Like, I can't stand it. So, wasn't a good fight. Wasn't really much to really break down when it comes to it. And Juliana Pena is definitely going to be next. And it's going to be an interesting fight because we know Juliana's going to bring a fight. We know that. That's just what she does to a fault. She's going to do that little, Tasmanian devil run punch 1-2s and then possibly get caught. But that's what she does. And then I'm excited to see the fight. But yet still, Raquel's going to have to step up because Juliana will drag her into the deep water and finish her if she does. If she fights like that, I got Juliana. Simple and plain. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about, if you hear any noise, it's my dog. Don't pay her no mind. I don't. Okay. But yeah, so the last fight we're going to talk about is obviously going to be the main event, Sean Strickland versus DDP. I mean, I will say that I'm not mad about this scoring. It's not a robbery. I can't stand when people say super close fights are a robbery. And yes, I do know the verdict of some close fights has a decisive winner. This won't that fight. It wasn't. I mean, yet still, like, it's just like I said with Chris Curtis. Sean Strickland stays in fights like this, where it's such a close competitive fight, which is why it's so shocking that he dominated Izzy the way he did. Because normally what you get with Sean Strickland is what we got yesterday. which is slow, methodical, yet and still he got great defense, and his offense is very, very mute. Like, as good as his defense is, I personally think it's as bad as his offense is. I don't think his offense is as great as people like to say. I think he has a good jab, sure, but outside of that, it's pretty bad. Personally, he pressures people and then he tries to land that too, but he never lands it versus anybody but Izzy. So it was weird that he landed it versus Izzy, but yet still, when it comes to anybody else, he doesn't really land it too much. And his hooks are awful. There's no technique when it comes to it. Like when it comes to the striking department, I do actually agree with the Irish kid where he sat there and said, like, bro, the stand up is pretty mediocre. It's amateurish. Like if boxers watch that kind of fight, they're gonna laugh at it and say these guys are champions because it did look bad, simple and plain. And I will say once again that Strickland has good defense, but yet and still, when it comes to that offense, it's just not there. Like, it's not. So that's why I call us for the fight that it was. I thought DDP looked honestly, I was impressed with DDP just for the simple fact of his cardio. I've seen him crash and burn multiple times, but yet and still, he went hard for a good 5 rounds. That 5th round kind of got away from him a little bit because Sean started just picking up the pace, which he tends to do at all his fights where he just wants to fight in the 5th. And it's like, where was that energy the first 4 or 5 rounds? Like, what were we doing there? But, conservative energy for the 5th. And then complain about a split decision loss? Sure, let's do that. He did the same thing with Cannonier. I don't know why he does it, but hey, it is what it is. But yet and still, when it comes to DDP, I was impressed. I did think he won the fight. I thought the 3rd round was close, but I did give it to him. Now, granted, I was off of one watch. I can watch it again and maybe come up with a different perspective. But that fight was way too close for me to care about Sean Strickland complaining or people thinking he won. And I'm ready to already see DDP fight Izzy. Let's go ahead to that, because that fight wasn't entertaining enough for me to really care to see it immediately. And also, he doesn't have a reign. He lost his title defense. So obviously, if I'm them, I'm picking up DDP. I think DDP versus Izzy, and Sean Strickland should fight Chimaev. And I'm down for both. And have it on the same card. If they put it on 300, I don't care. Put us on 302, or 301, 302. I don't care. Just put that on there, and I think personally, and then obviously have the winners fight each other. I think that's the best way to go. Best case in action. But yeah, that's just basically how I feel about the fight. The card, like I said, if I had to give it a grade, I would personally give it a C at best. I don't think it was great, but I don't think it was terrible. And yeah, I hope we have a better year, because last year was just not a great year personally, I think. But who am I? I'm just Josh. But as always, man, make sure you follow me on social media at Papa Showtime, Josh Showtime. Comment, tell me what you think about the fights. Obviously, if you agree with me or you disagree, I don't really care. Just let me know. And yeah, I'll see y'all. Make sure y'all stay blessed.